Well, I think we have to start from the sentence of Jesus Christ that all be one. That's his testament. He gave the Eve before his death on the cross. And I think that's a binding statement for all Christians. And on the other hand, in our times we are sitting in the same boat, all Christians. All Christians are threatened, all Christians have problems, and so we have to work together. That's another argument in favor of ecumenism. But there are also differences in reception. The Catholic Church has, from its very beginning, a universal vision of the Church, whereas the more Orthodox churches have, they are bound very much to the culture of a country and so on. There is also a universal level, but they see the universality more on a spiritual level. There's one spirit, whereas the Catholic Church wants to have a visible unity with the center in the Petrine ministry, and the Petrine ministry, there's a difference between the Orthodox and the Catholic Church. And also I think there are different approaches from our Western kind of thinking and of speaking, and from the Orthodox it's more Oriental, it's a kind of a set of mind. And so I think these are also cultural differences between East and West, and to overcome these cultural differences it needs personal encounter, personal friendship, and I would say a hermeneutic or an ecumenism of love, of friendship, of confidence, and I think we have to start with this, with personal account. I remember very well my stay in Georgia and the meeting with your patriarch. It was a very fraternal meeting, and I think this helps the most. People have to meet, and they will also to understand each other, and then they have the desire to come together. The prayer of Jesus has to become our own prayer, that all may be one. And I think unity cannot be organized by ourselves. The unity of the Church is a gift of the Holy Spirit. But we can ask, we can pray for the Holy Spirit, and we need the Holy Spirit first to purify and to cleanse our own hearts, to take away all the hatred and the prejudices which are there since centuries, and to give us the feeling, the spirit of love, of forgiveness, of unity. That's the first one. To pray together, we can come together, pray together, but we can also pray together on different places of the world, and then we are invisible monastery when Christians pray together. That's the most important thing. The second is, I think we can work together in a practical sense. There's so much of problems in our world, so much of martyrdom and of distress of people. It's a terrible world in which we live, but Christians can, through all their differences which are there, work together. They are all bound by the love of Christ. To work together helps also to understand each other in a better way. Yeah. That's the spiritual ecumenism, which for me is the fundament. Well, reception is not only a theoretical thing. To receive some texts which are often very theologically formulated, but reception is also personal encounter. I have to receive another person. It goes from person to person, and so we first we have to we need groups which meet each other, love each other, have trust to each other, and then we can receive also the option and the view of the other. That's the first point. And the second, we have these texts we have between the Orthodox and the Roman Catholic Church are often formulated in a very technical, theological way. Yes, we need theology without doubt, but we have to translate it on a level which is understandable for normal people, and the translation, not only a translation translation of the text word by word, but a translation in a language understandable for other people has to be done in every country in a different way. So it's also a task we have, but encounter is important, meetings are important, to see each other face to face, and then we are aware, in front of it we have the same face, the same God, the same Jesus Christ, the same Spirit. With the Orthodox we have the same sacraments, it's a different rite, a different liturgy, but can be. And so to have this experience, it's often a estrangement because we never meet each other, and so we are estranged from each other. We are fearful about the other, but to meet people, that's the main thing which is needed. Pope Francis has a very interesting view of what is unity all about. It's not unification, because there are different traditions in the East and in the West, and these different traditions go all back to the apostolic roots, and they are also the origins of the Church. We have to acknowledge each other in our differences. That's it. You see, unity by differences, he formulates according to Oscar Kuhlmann. And so we have to love, to appreciate the different expressions of faith in East and West, and say, yes, all this can remain. We bring something. We have to learn from each other, because there are aspects also in Orthodox Church much better and more developed than in the West. In some aspects we have better developed, so we can learn from each other. And that is a perspective of Pope Francis. He has also unity by and through diversity. We had in the Catholic Church the conception of concentric circles, but Rome is always the center, and that's difficult for Orthodox also. And now Francis has another image. He has an image of a polyeder, multi-faced thing, and so there are different phases, but they are a whole reality, and if this polyeder is a precious stone, it reflects in a wonderful way the light from the sun or from outside, and so forth. I think this polyedric vision gives much more room for diversity and for mutual respect. Yes, Pope Francis is fully in the line of John Paul II, who prayed for forgiveness for sins of the past, but John Paul II made also an offer. So let's enter in a dialogue how to implement papacy and the Petrine ministry today in a way which is acceptable to both. And Pope Francis repeated this offer when he was in Jerusalem, in this liturgy, together with the ecumenical patriarch. He repeated it. Let's reflect how to implement, because papacy has developed a lot between the first and the second millennium, and so we have now entered in the third millennium. We can have a new realization, the implementation of this, but it has to be done in a common way, which gives much more room for your synodical structure. We have no longer this one-sided centralized vision of the Church, or the Pope on the top and all is under the Pope. It's more a communal vision of the Church, and the Pope speaks of himself as a Bishop of Rome. Bishop of Rome is the oldest title of the Pope, and he brings it anew to the foreground, and I think that's very important. And John Paul II told me once, I do not want to have jurisdiction about the Orthodox. They can do their things alone. I have enough to do with the Latin Church. He said to me, I want communion, not jurisdiction.
Communion.
This makes a big difference in this direction. We have to know. I am hopeful because it's a prayer of Jesus.
Yes.
And ecumenicism, according to Vatican II, is a work of the Holy Spirit. And if the Holy Spirit initiates something, he brings it to an end. And so far, it's my hope and my trust in the Holy Spirit. But well, the Spirit goes through difficulties very often, and now some people speak of an ecumenical winter. I do not like this speech, but I am aware after the winter comes a new spring. And so I hope for a new spring, and I see in the pontificate of Pope Francis a new step of reception, implementation of Vatican II. We have to do a new jump ahead. John 23rd was a holy man, and he trusted in the Holy Spirit. He did not know how to do all things, but he had the feeling of the conviction the Holy Spirit wants this, and so he did. And it's similar with Francis.
Yes, I find similarities.
Very similar. He sort of trusts in the providence of God, and so he goes on, and I think this openness to the Holy Spirit, and to be also surprised by the Holy Spirit.
Yes,
not to sit down and to be fixed, no, to go on together, and that's my wish for the Church of the future.
Thank you so much. May I just have a little talk with you?
Yes.
Informally.
Yes.
As you know, as soon as we come together,
And to see this suffering.
I really, this is such a remarkable book about the harvest in ecumenics. I don't believe in winter because so much has been done.
After winter,
Spring comes.